Hello, everybody. James here for the Stevie Richards Show. This is a YouTube exclusive, and we're going to be posting this sort of as soon as we record it, basically. And it is in response to Doug Malow doing another interview with the Scaling Up podcast YouTube channel. That is the YouTube channel that had the initial Doug Malow interview, which got like 1 million views, which is absolutely insane for such a small channel, basically, as well. And they had the same issue that we did because they got restricted on their video because they showed the footage and then we showed the footage and then we had to edit it a couple of times and repost to sort of get it past that kind of thing. But Douglas Malow gave, I guess, a couple of decent-sized revelations there, including his interviews with the LAPD and Rampage Jackson, and it's looking like, I mean, according to Doug, it's pretty much a lock that he will be arrested and why it's taking so long, and then also some of the legal stuff and how Stu is doing as well. So, once again, Doug Malow on the Scaling Up podcast. He confirmed that he'd been interviewed by Los Angeles Police Department. They're getting his side of the story. They're obviously not charging him because he was trying to stop something even worse happening, I guess.
Which is a shock for California. I figured he'd be arrested if they'd actually put the cell under the person for him. It seems to work backwards, or they would have arrested Stu for not defending himself.
It's not. I can't even laugh at that because I would believe you if that had happened. Anyway, so yeah, he's been interviewed by LAPD. He also said that LAPD are notorious for dragging their feet on investigations such as this. But in their case, apparently what he was told is that they are trying to figure out the level of premeditation, as well as trying to get all the ducks in a row as far as, all the wrestling lingo, all the live stream stuff, all the players who are, taunting or splitting up fights or getting involved or anything else as well. So, mate, is it just us who are more familiar with pro wrestling, we assume that everybody gets it? Or is it something that really does need a lot more dissecting, and this is why it's been a week and a half now?
Well, I think we have to repeat the lesson that we all learned with the beginning of this, with the inception of this tragedy. And it is a tragedy, even though Stu is home. It was a very tragic event. How did all this originate? With people assuming that Roger Jackson was clued in and knew everything about the business because we've been spoiled. I repeat it, we've been spoiled. We've gotten too comfortable. So the fact that LAPD is interviewing Doug and asking him, what does this term mean? What does this mean? What do they mean by receipt? What's a receipt supposed to be? Well, who put him in there? I have to at least give him credit that at least Doug hasn't lied about anything or been facetious except for one term where he was obviously joking. You'll get to that in a second. But he's been very clear, concise, maybe at the cost of his own wrestling career, because he does say something at the end, and I believe that he's actually blacklisted himself for the best of reasons. In the real world, in the wrestling world, this is a no-no. We'll get to that, but I'm glad that he's stepping up. I'm glad that he's taking the moral high ground rather than saying, ooh, this will hurt my chances of getting booked, like most workers would think. So I'm glad they're interviewing him, but it seems like now I have a little bit more faith that someone is going to get involved in this from the law enforcement level. I even heard a rumor, I don't know if it's true, that the state police has taken over this investigation or they're heavily involved.
So, once again, they're trying to get, I was going to say all the evidence, but for goodness sake, there's a live stream there available to all. Everyone's got all the evidence. The only thing I guess they really need.
You literally only need 2 hours to watch the live stream. You have all the evidence you'll ever need.
Yeah, and then, medical records and whatnot as well. I mean, that might be more, for civil and criminal, I guess. We'll be talking about the legal implications in a minute. So, they're just trying to figure out what to charge Raja Jackson with. TMZ, an interview that Doug Malow did. Once again, Doug Malow was the guy who broke up the fight. A young 17-year-old tried to first. He was terrified. And,
Can I ask you a question? Yeah. And I'm so sorry to interrupt. This is just something I wanted to ask before you got into it. Wouldn't it normally be you go to they went to the event. They questioned everybody. They got the rundown on what happened. They probably saw Stu still in the ring or getting loaded up on the stretcher to go into the ambulance, into the hospital, into critical care. Let's not forget that. If it was you or I, wouldn't they, or anybody, and for that matter, maybe it's just a pro wrestling sense, but wouldn't the cops go find him, who he's still live streaming down the street or somewhere in the vicinity, and at least bring him in for questioning and hold him till we find out what's going on, so he doesn't kind of disappear and then we have nothing? Wouldn't that normally, let's, sometimes they would arrest everybody involved until we figure out who started the fight, what happened, and all that stuff.
No,
And I
what?
have this picture of them. I have the picture of LAPD cuffing Stu as he's unconscious. Don't do that.
No. They only arrest you over here for a thought crime, or if you hurt somebody's feelings on social
Well,
media
he sure
with
as
a
hell was
valid
thinking
take.
out loud.
Yeah.
Raja was thinking out loud for sure.
No, he should have done a thought crime, and then they would have arrested him much
sure.
more quickly in a London airport in Heathrow. Right. Okay then. Essentially, TMZ interview, Doug said, I believe facetiously, or it was misconstrued, that that Raja shouldn't have gone to jail. When he said, no, he absolutely should have gone to jail. I'm just saying that, people clamoring for 20 years or whatever, I'm saying give a proportionate prison sentence, but also make sure there's mandatory anger management or psychological evaluation or whatever it is to rehab. And people keep calling him a kid. He's 25, 26 years old. He's a grown man. To make him a functioning member of society. So he believes in punishment and, not restitution, but rehabilitation and restitution, I imagine, as well. Also, he jokingly, and I've stressed jokingly because some people couldn't tell the difference between a joke or not, he said he'd take $1 million from Rampage Jackson to shut up about it. And then he says several times in the 13-minute interview with the, what's it called? The Standing Up podcast. I've already found the
scaling up.
Scaling up podcast. I'm sorry. And then he said, no, absolutely not. He would rather be poor and have his integrity and not follow his wrestling dream than lie and basically that kind of thing. We'll talk about that in a second. Did you read the Rampage Jackson second Instagram post that dropped 2 days ago, maybe?
Yeah, some of it. There was a couple stages. I did see a video. What was it? Did he do a video from a bowling alley? And he was talking about it, or was there was some other video that had passed through my feed? I just have this, I don't know, the tone of it, and text is hard to interpret, but in this way, not so much. It seems like Rampage is more annoyed by the whole situation. Did you get that impression?
Yeah, but he's annoyed on his own behalf, partly, because it's like people are calling me out and da-da-da, and I dare you to DM me and whatnot. But he was placing a lot more blame on Stu in the second post, also not fully absolving his son, but he was very much passing a lot of the blame to Stu in the second post and how he's sick of it all and how the internet is this, that, and the other, that kind of thing.
Wasn't he one of the people that were gearing up Raja during the live stream as well?
Yeah, he was.
Okay,
yeah.
I think we have to remember that he's kind of just egging him on and saying things to him like you're going to let some wrestler or somebody in tights, or he used some terms that basically made the kid feel like this big, right? Mm-hmm. When he's already kind of teetering on instability as it is with the, as you said, preteens telling him what to do, which he showed all the intent in the world, all the premeditation in the world that you'll ever need. Even if he just said, I'm going to hit this guy until someone stops me. Isn't that premeditated right there? But he was literally boiling over during that whole pre-beatdown, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And even afterwards, he looked like he wanted to beat somebody up.
He looked like he wanted to cry at the end of it. Like when he's on the street on the way out, he looked like he was like on the precipice of tears.
Maybe there's a part of him that knew, like, well, that wasn't maybe the smartest thing to do. I'm going to get in trouble.
Douglas Malow also says Raja Jackson should have absolutely been arrested at the time. Raja was let down by his coach and the people who brought him to the show. So I imagine that is the cowboy guy, AJ Manor, and that Raja should have never been put in that position in the first place. And there were many failures along the way, which I think is something we've both said and fairly obvious. Doug clarifies that Raja needs a jail sentence, but once again I've said also needs proper rehab. And then Doug also goes on to Stu. Stuart Smith is his real name anyway, Psycho Stu. His memory is not exactly there. He doesn't remember the entire evening's events. And the people who are around him are not maybe fully cluing him in, and this is on purpose because with anybody with a head injury, brain injury, anything like that. Any sort of emotional excitement or distress can severely put back one's recovery. So they're sort of limiting the information he's been given for his own safety and sake. And also, I think his phone's been taken away. I think that's what Doug said. His phone's been taken away. He's aware that it's a story. He's aware, basically, of what has happened to him. But I don't think he's aware of how much interest there has been in this story and the sort of the media furore around it as well. But at least he's home, and his family is sort of closing ranks around him in the best way.
Yeah, we definitely are happy to see that he improved rather than while he was in the hospital. It could have went either way. You don't know with these kinds of head injuries. Maybe he had a brain bleed. We don't know the exact diagnosis. We know he was hit in the jaw plenty of times, and you saw from the smile, half his teeth are missing. And thank God he's home. But now the real recovery starts. The unknown, like how much is he going to regain cognitive ability? Is he going to have post-concussion syndrome? What are the long-term effects? And he has PTSD from serving in the military. What's going to happen to him mentally? So the fact you're taking the phone away from him, because just as much as you have people like myself and you and other people speaking out against Raja Jackson's actions, you have people creeping up that are actually for Raja, and they're turning into a lot of different issues that are really just expanding it and blowing it up into something way too off the reservation.
That's good advice for a lot of people, whether they've got head injuries or not, just to drop the phone and keep away from it for a while. I think a lot of people could deal with that.
I haven't been on social media in over a year, and it's definitely, outside of stressing myself out, like you stress yourself out with work, it's definitely cleared up a lot of things. But if Stu saw that, like, some people are actually saying he deserved it, or the craziest one is, this is all a work. Could you imagine if this was a work, how much trouble everybody would be in? They'd be even more trouble now. Everybody across the board, for the GoFundMe, the hospital, everything that people are saying, all that stuff, the police being involved, filing a false police report. You see what I mean? To say it's a work is it's insane.
I've said this before.
Although I do have to take it back. People came at me when they said, how could you say that Raja Jackson would be booked in GCW by the end of the year? I have to apologize. I was wrong. It only took 1 week for him to get booked at Danger Pro Wrestling.
Now, I think that promotion claimed, or I think people claimed on their behalf, that it was a big hoax and a big joke, which it might well have been, because afterwards they said, apparently, I don't know if there was ever a date. I don't know if that was ever set. And then I think afterwards, whatever that promotion was, said that their WWE ID affiliation had been pulled, which, of course, they're not WWE ID affiliated. So it might have just been one big joke, or they might have tried to play it off as a joke when they realised the backlash from it. So I don't know. I mean, just it's kind of by
but now does this kid think he's booked for a show and he's going to go to that? Very emotional and upset.
Well, I said this. It's like they should book him for a show, but it's actually like, when the police like do those things
the
where they say,
thing. You won the sweepstakes.
Yeah, they should just do that. Yeah, you won a free speedboat, guy, and then film him getting arrested, almost like To Catch a Predator.
What's funny is I don't even know the origin, because my wife is younger than me, and when I said that, she's like, "What's this speedboat thing?" I go, "I have no idea." When I was a kid, I must have saw a video or some kind of cops episode where they said you want a speedboat, and then they arrested the guy when he showed up.
Dude, it's on Instagram. I've seen it more than once.
Oh, so it is a speedboat. I'm right.
Yeah, it is a speedboat. Yeah, that's why. Because I tweeted speedboat as well. Everyone got it. Right.
Good Lord.
So let's do the legal stuff very briefly. Doug says that he read and also has heard, I believe he said, that lawyers are involved, and obviously Raja Jackson will be high probability that he's going to be named in a civil suit coming up. I think whatever else is released about, potentially who's being sued and whatnot, all that Doug would say is, no, we're pretty sure that Raj is being sued. He didn't give any other names or entities up. But one thing to sort of finish this up, Doug doesn't want to deal with the whole situation because it causes him anxiety, and he wants to concentrate on getting signed by a major wrestling promotion and fulfill his dream. He didn't ask for any of this situation, of course. He just broke up a fight / attempted murder. Those are his words as well. He'd rather tell the truth and not abandon his moral compass, even if it costs him a major wrestling opportunity with WWE or AEW or TNA or anybody. So he was very emphatic at the end of the video that said, no, I'd rather tell the truth and remain poor and be a trucker and honk his horn with pride, I think he said, than get to wrestling, but, keep his mouth shut to get there.
Yeah, that's a very interesting thing because what he said and what he did is exactly what the wrestling business does not want. They want malleable. They want people they can influence, people they can manipulate, people that can basically want to compromise that moral compass. I'm sure Dutch has told stories, Shane has told stories, any wrestler you interviewed has told stories about the office, the promotion, the bookers, even the fellow people in the locker room trying to get you to play along. It's high school cafeteria peer pressure. So when they look at this and people's like, how can people think that way? Well, look at the people that are contrarian to what we're saying. There's people out there that are like, man, this guy, and didn't I say it in the first video? People are probably saying this guy will never get booked. This guy will never get hired. That's not me saying that like in hopes of that or saying like I'm in the bubble or I'm indoctrinated or institutionalized with them. What I'm saying from outside the bubble is, unfortunately, doing the right thing, which he did the ultimate right thing here. Even the 17-year-old kid who tried to jump in, who he mentioned, that kid's a hero. But in the wrestling world, they look at that and go, you're a little bit too much of an independent thinker. Don't think that do good, but don't do too good. I mean, that's what I think. So this guy probably did cost him a booking anywhere in a major TV promotion, and good on him.
Hopefully it doesn't. Hopefully he realizes his dream. That's pretty much it from this
No,
update.
I want him to. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to be negative about this. Prove me wrong. Wrestling business. Prove me wrong. Give this guy an opportunity. Even if it's AEW just trying to stick it up to WWE, give this guy a shot. I'm not saying give him a contract. Give him a tryout. See how he does. Make sure he's good enough. Make sure he's up to snuff. And then give him a job. You know what he reminds me of? You could team him up with Lance Archer.
Yeah, he looks like Dark Order or something like that.
He looks like his brother. Yeah, and you're not doing anything with that guy, so that would be a perfect tag team.
Want and do nothing with both of them.
Oh, aha.
All right then. So hopefully, good on Doug for sticking up once again for his friend, and that was from the Scaling Up podcast, that interview. So I'll put the link in the description if I can do that. I'll try and do it in the comments as well. But everybody, thank you very much. That was a YouTube exclusive. That'll be it'll be coming out in about half an hour, I think, from us recording that. And then, of course, the Stevie Richards show, as normal, will be out this coming Friday. We hope to see you there.